Hi, my name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr. and I was born July 4th, 1986. Today, I want to talk about something that I've been talking about, but I felt like I wasn't prepared. And now I feel like I'm never going to be fully prepared, but I'm prepared to speak about some things that now that I have some more information, because I've decided to do the research myself instead of just listening to what someone else is trying to tell me based on their life experience and making me feel as if I'm in reality stupid because I don't know what they know and I don't know how to keep up with what they know how to keep up with, where I felt a whole lot of felt inadequate, like just meaningless kind of in a way with the understanding of what it is that I'm talking about as opposed to what it is that is actually going on out here. And a lot of things that I've been able to read in reading this Bible cover to cover twice now. Now I'm halfway through on the third time, and I'm just going to continue to keep doing it on a weekly basis. Just this is all the information I'm going to consume until I don't know when, because every time I read it, I learn more about things that people try to tell me is what the truth is, and I'm just like, no, what you're saying is not quite lining up with what the book is actually saying, even though you're claiming to be going off the book. So I've come to realize today, on going on one of my walks, that I now have an unlimited amount of things to talk about, that I could talk about each page of that book for days and just for the remainder of my life, that I don't have enough time to go through everything that I want to go through. Just the second time that I was reading through it, I just got flooded with just information on where it is that I should go, what I should speak about. And I kind of, this past week, just I've been ready to make videos again and put this out there, but I got stuck because I was like, man, now I got too much to talk about. I don't even know where to start. I don't even know what to do here. I don't even know where to go. And a lot of times I feel like we get into that the first time we read it, where I don't even know where to start. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going on. So you don't do it. And I ran into that situation with making videos or talking about the Bible again, that I've been talking about it for a whole year. And then for some reason, that whole year I had everything to say. But then I just got bombarded with hearing someone speak about something and just saying, no, dude, you're not reading that right. You're reading this based on what you want it to say as opposed to what it's actually saying. And that's for me that's the number one thing that I think I realized with reading this book, was realizing that if you want it to say what you want it to say, it's there for you. But if you want it to say what it's meaning to say, what it wants to say, what God is looking for us to say, you're gonna really, really come into a whole new understanding of what is real and what is not. Because a lot of what I was reading, I went into it at a blank slate of, I don't care that was one of the major prayers that I prayed, was saying, God, please don't allow me to think of what anybody else had to say about this. I want a whole beginner's mind with reading this book and getting a good understanding of it. And when I came at it that way, I realized there's a lot of things that I'm doing that I should not be doing. There's a lot of stuff that I'm thinking and going by that I need to completely just sprint, figure out how to get on a jet and get the heck away from what it is that I'm doing. Because what it is that I'm doing is just disastrous. It's destructive. It's chaos and madness. When I was looking at reading these 10 commandments and just kind of picking them off of where I should go and what I should do and what I should refrain from, I realized like I was on the right track. But I didn't know the fullness of the commandments. It just hits you with a word. Do not commit adultery, for instance. It just hits you with a few words. And it's like, well, what exactly is adultery? But when you read the entire book, you get a very, very, very just concrete, clear understanding of exactly what that is and what he's talking about and what that means and what we should stay away from, where we should go, everything about it. But if you just read that one word and you try to say to yourself, okay, well, I'm just never going to mess with another man's wife. I'm never going to mess with another woman's husband, and thinking that that's just the end of it, you are far mistaken. That you don't know what's going on here. And that's what I ran into. A lot of things that I thought that I knew. I thought I had a real good understanding on a lot of these stories. I thought I knew them all. I thought I seriously did. You would say a name to me. I had a brief understanding. I would do some quick snippets of research about it. Say, I know exactly what's going on there, but I didn't when I read the whole thing myself. Because the whole thing is going from the beginning to where we are today. And in reality, it's going beyond to where we are today. And it's fascinating because if you just try to get into the middle of it and forget everything beforehand in the first half, you're going to be very, very confused. You're going to be reading some things like, why was that going on? Why is God being in reality so ruthless to the people about this? It's because he was already telling people way before where it is and what it is and how it is and everything that's going on. So when someone would just skip into the middle, like for instance, just go to the book of Deuteronomy, I still don't know how to say that word, right? But just skip to that and without reading everything before, you're going to think, oh my goodness, God is savage, he's ruthless, he's out just conquering and killing and slaying. And it's like, you're very confused because you don't know why we're here. And if you don't know why we're here, you're going to do the same thing again. And that's 100% what I find in that Bible, is that we today are doing the same things as what's going on in that book. Someone would say that that's biblical ancient times. And I'm going to say to you, you don't know. You don't know. That book is right now. I could read something that Moses was going through or going on and relate it to 100% what we're doing today. Because that's what I'm going to talk about today. Is right up front, right in the beginning, right when God was really just getting into the people, getting into the motions of working with people here. No, not just a person, not just Abraham, not just a single, not just Adam, not just Eve, not just them, but when he started working with, congregate with hundreds of thousands of people. Moses is working with millions of people. He's no longer just 10 people and a little clan here. No, this is where we're starting to get to like nowadays. We have millions of people. And the information, the story starts to change, to adapt to understanding that there are millions. And there's a difference that we act and do and are all about. So when God is talking to Abraham, he's talking to him in a specific way. He's talking to him. He's talking to him for him. And he's saying what your future is going to look like, but not actually his future, his seed, his lineage, his children, his daughters are going to be able to have, but not actually him. Whereas Moses is in the middle of it. He's having to deal with the people. And dealing with the people is something that I want to talk about today. And that gets down into the book of, where are we starting at? Let me figure this out in a second here. We're going to start off in the book of Exodus, in the 14th chapter. This is just very fascinating because there's a lot going on here that really makes me just have a very, very good understanding of knowing exactly who God, what God has to deal with, and what we as a people are constantly doing, what we as a people are all about. You know what I'm saying? A lot that I'm going to say here right now, and this is the beginning. This is the beginnings, okay? I'm in the first 2% of this book when he's talking about human beings, us. He's talking about us. This is us today. This is us right now. And if you don't think that this is you, then I'm going to say that, I don't want to say that you're a liar straight up, but I just want to say that you're very confused and you're very misled on what it is that's going on with only just you, your own self, and everything else around you. Because maybe you yourself isn't getting conflicted with every single thing that I'm about to say, but I will guarantee you this. I'm going to 100% guarantee you this, that one thing that's going on here that the people are grumbling about, you grumble about, and you do on a day-to-day basis even. Not even on a week-to-week, month-to-month, year-to-year, but on a day-to-day basis, you are complaining about something that you should be giving praise to, because what you have is an absolute miracle of life. What you are able to do and able to be able to have is an absolute blessing. But we look at our blessings as just, God, where are you? What are you doing for me? You ain't nothing to me. Why should I listen to you? And right here, right away, I just want to read this, and this is where Moses is taking all the people out of Egypt. They're in slavery because they put themselves in slavery, because there was times of famine. The same thing that in reality, when I look at today, I'm starting to hear and see the same stuff. We're going to have famine out here, people. The weather is not controlled by me, you, anyone, a human being. The weather is controlled by God. God does this, and please don't let anyone try to say anything different. God controls everything. When God decides that there's going to be a lush grass and greatness going on, there is. When God decides that there's going to be a famine, there is. And everything happens in seasons and cycles to test us in reality. What are we going to do? How are we going to act? How are things going to be for us? So when this famine comes upon us, just like the famine has come and gone many a times, at least a dozen times in this entire book, he talks about a famine. Some of the famines are short term, some of them are 7 years. Some of them are just hardcore. Some of them we didn't have rain for 3.5 years. That's some serious stuff. Imagine that. But where are you going to get your food from? How are you going to be able to work? How are you going to be able to do what you need to do? How are you going to survive? And that's devastating. And I would hope and pray, and I hope everyone would just please don't allow that to happen, because that would be hard, especially compared to what it is that we do today, that not many of us are sourcing our own food. And there's something always inside of me that's been sourcing food so that if something happened, I got something for you. Even if you hate me, I still got something for you. And so Moses brings the people out of Egypt, and the Egyptians get to a point where they're like, heck yeah, we're out of slavery, man. We're doing what we're doing now. We're able to just be free on this land. And this guy here, he did some stuff to that Pharaoh, and he got us out of here. And they're all excited. And I'm like, heck yeah, we should be excited. We're getting to go to be on our own now. I don't have to do this slave labor work. Because when the first Pharaoh was in, things were cool. It was actually pretty chill. It was nice. But then a new one came in and doubled our work, started abusing us physically, started mentally playing with us, started demanding so much that we couldn't do anymore. So when we're like, yeah, we want to get out of this. We can't handle this. So then they start walking. So then God's got to do some miracles here to be able to show and make happen and do what it is he needs to do. And the people in this time, all of what I'm reading, were the ones that eyewitnesses seen it. So they saw they were leaving, and then they looked back, they're like, oh shucks, those guys are coming after us. Those guys are trying to harm us. Those guys are gonna come and kill us. So then the people start grumbling on Moses, why didn't you just leave us there in slavery? We're better off than being out here free on the land and being able to do what we want to do. Why don't you just leave us back there? Why are we doing this? And then Moses is like, God, these people are complaining right now. So God says to Moses, put your staff down. Exodus 14:16, raise your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea and divide the water so that the Israelites can go through the sea on dry ground. And then in the 24th verse, during the last watch of the night, the Lord looked down from the pillar of fire and cloud at the Egyptian army and threw into confusion. He jammed the wheels of the chariot so that it was difficulty driving and said to Egyptians, let's go. The Egyptians said, let's go, let's get away from the Israelites. The Lord is fighting for them against Egypt. So what happens here is the Lord does a miracle. The people get stuck at some water, and Moses is like, God's got our back, guys. Relax. Don't be scared. He puts that staff down, the water's open, and they start walking. And then they look back like, oh shucks, they're still coming. And then he puts that staff down in that water, and they're done. And the Egyptians had to say, you know what? It's not worth it. And in reality, they passed away. And then they realized we're not even going to try to get them later on again because it's just not worth it. God's working for these people. We're not going to be able to win. Anytime that God is working for the people, the enemy is never. And this is where I'm going to say a never. And there's never and never always. I always used to say that and learn that in dog training. Don't ever say never. Don't ever say always. But according to this text, you will never be under the enemy if you believe and be obedient and trust in God. That's a promise that he gives us. And it's a promise that we need to stick with and have a good understanding on. So then what starts to happen. They get into the wilderness and to the fields and to the land, and they're hanging out. They're doing good. They're like, hey, we're bumping and grinding. We're making something happen. We're living life. We're free. We no longer have this guy out here that's forcing and trying to tell us to do what we do. And then what happens? They get what I'm going to say is big-headed. They get what we do as humans. We see a miracle, and then we're excited about it. And then it's like it goes from a 10, and then it starts to go down. We're like, I need something more now because I had that. Now I haven't had anything in it in a while. I don't know what's going on here. Even though there was an absolute blessing upon your life. And the blessing of leaving Egypt is something that I can say is you got out of a relationship that you knew that you should try to figure out how to get out of. And you finally got out of it because this person was abusing you. They were physically abusing you. They were mentally abusing you. They weren't even just abusing you. They were abusing everyone around you, all your friends, all your family. They were destroying everything about you. And somehow you got out of it. It was like it's just weird. You were begging to plead because you couldn't get out of it. You were stuck. And in reality, you're so stuck that you were kind of scared stuck. You're scared that this person might do something savage to me if I try to leave. So I'm staying here because my life kind of depends upon it. But somehow, because you've been praying, been asking, you're saying, God, please get me out of this. Please get me away from this. Please, just get me out of it. I don't care. Get me away from this. And then something happens. One day, at one time, at one night, one morning, who knows when? Who knows if it's the summer or the winter? Something happens that you're able to get away. And you're able to get away with that person even looks at you and even says to you like, okay, go, that's fine. And usually that happens when that other person that's just being ruthless to you has got something else. And then you finally get out of it. You're like, man, I'm out of it. I'm free. I got divorced even. I got out of this. I'm no longer tied to this in any sort of way. All my resources are separated. I'm gone. I'm out of it. I'm away. And then you say to yourself, like, yes, praise God, praise God. You were just on cloud 1,000 million. You rocking and rolling, you doing what you're doing, you loving life. And then 2 weeks later, you the most depressed, sad person planet on the absolute planet. Just like here in chapter 16, the second verse. In the desert, the whole community grumbled against Moses and Aaron. The Israelites said to them, if only we had died in the Lord's hand in Egypt, then sitting here where we had the pots of meat and ate all the food we wanted, but had been brought out to the desert to starve to death. Then the Lord said to Moses, I will rain down bread from heaven to you for the people to go each day out and gather for a day. In this way I will test them to see whether they'll follow my instructions or not. You finally got out. You're finally free. And then you started complaining. Man, I'm hurting. I'm alone. I don't have anyone to talk to. I don't know what to do. At least I had someone to lay in bed next with. At least I had someone to talk to. At least I was able to just be able to have something there. There were some good times. There were even if it was 98% bad, that 2% good times is all you're thinking about. The 2%, as opposed to 98% was just devastating to you. Absolute ruthlessness. You had some ease of access. You had a little bit of ease of access. You had some things that did look better when you were with that and in that and doing that. But when you got away from it, you realize, like, man, I got no one really to talk to like that now. I got no one to, even though we did fight, I kind of almost miss the fights now. I don't know what it is, but I wish that I could still stay in that a little bit. And so the people just really start to get to the point of, I kind of would rather still be in that, because where I am now, all by myself, all alone out here, able to do what it is that I want to do, able to make moves to be able to move forward in life. This is hard. This is really hard. This is kind of sad. This is real ruthless. Like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to get my own food. How am I going to get my own water? So that's when God made another miracle. He brought you another one right here. He said, yeah, I'm gonna make sure that you got food. You good to go with the food. You got water over there. Now you got food. He's gonna bring it down from heaven to give you. He gave you another miracle. And you're like, yes, thank goodness, because that loneliness and all this and thinking this, and then kind of almost thinking that things are better over there, and almost like kind of wanting to go back there. And God came in and said, no, you don't want to go back there. Let me do something for you. Let me show you how powerful I am and how amazing I am and how much I love you. And I'm going to give you food. You don't need to worry about it no more. So he fulfilled that loneliness that was inside of you. Then now you're good to go. Now you're like, okay, this is awesome. Living. Okay, so we're living. And then we run into another situation. We're eating good now. We had the water, but now we moved and now there's no water. But we still eating good. We got real good food. And now the people start grumbling again. They start to say, hey, you know what? Now, we're over here. There's no water. We came out here. We're just going to die of thirst. Why couldn't we just go back to Egypt, go back to that same old thing again so that we wouldn't die of this thirst? So God did the miracle already of getting you out of it. He did the miracle already of making sure that you can eat. He's going to do another miracle for you here right now. And that's in the 17th chapter, in the second verse of Exodus. So they quarreled with Moses and said, give us water to drink. The Lord answered Moses, go out in front of the people, take with them some of the elders of the Israel, and take in your hand the staff with which you struck the Nile, and go. Verse 6, I will stand there before you by the rock at Horeb, strike the rock, and water will come out of it, and for the people to drink. So Moses did this in the sight of the Israelites. So it's not like he was doing things behind the scenes. He was allowing the people to see these miracles. So he did the miracle already of getting you out. Did the miracle of getting you some food. He did the miracle of now getting you some water. Now you pretty much have what you need to survive and be able to live. Now you have it. You got it all now. You moved out and you were like, I don't have a place to live. I'm living in my car. You got your apartment. You praise God for that. And then you're like, oh my goodness, I can't keep up with this. I don't have the right work. And then you man, he way up there. And then you got the next miracle of he gave you that right job so that you could take care of yourself, you could take care of your family, you could do what you got to do. And you're like, oh, praise Lord, I got the job now. So now you got the job to be able to take care of it all. Now you got the job, you got the house, you got everything you need to take care of yourself. Now where do we go? Now we go to the situation where God has to just clean as day tell you what it is that he's looking for from you to make sure that you understand why and how and what. And that goes to the 20th chapter of Exodus, which is the 10 Commandments. I'm not going to read all the 10 Commandments right now, but I just want to make sure that he has to make and say something just straight up clear so that we can have a very good understanding of how he works, how God functions, and what God is expecting from us. He's not expecting a lot from us. And when you really look at these commandments, he's not expecting us to do, that's the best way to put it, anything at all. He's not saying you got to go out there and run 1,000,000 miles. He's not saying you got to go out there and dig holes and you got to go out there and feed all the kids and you got to go out there and save the world. And you got to go out there and create some new medicines and you got to go out there and have 50,000 kids. He's not saying that we got to do anything in reality. Nothing. He's just asking a few things to make sure that we can stay away from the things that are going to hurt us and destroy us. So instead of you fighting so hard to get into something, he's saying, hey, actually, don't fight to get into that. Get away from that. Stay away from that. What are you doing with that? Why are you trying to go so far into that? Why are you trying to do extra and steal? That takes so much work, so much effort, so much time to do. He's telling us to kind of stop, slow down, hold on a minute. Why are you caring so much about what someone else has to think and has to say and has to do and has? Why are you trying so hard to sabotage that person because they have something that you think that you should have based on where you are and what you are right now? Stop. Why are you out there just trying to hate your parents so bad? You're just trying to destroy them and slander them and beat them down and be thankful and grateful that you're here because of them. You wouldn't be here if they didn't provide that. It's just, there's so much like that in there that's just, he's not telling us to do anything, but to not do things, to get out of things that is just gonna damage you and gonna hurt you and gonna destroy you, gonna slow you down, gonna put you in a sense of frustration and anger. He's telling us just stay away from that. You're trying so hard to do all the extra. Stop the extra. Slow down. So he tells us to slow down. And we moved away. We got the food. We got the water. But what happens next? You know what we do as people? God, I know you did all that, but, here I am, but you could do this extra for me. You could do that extra for me. And that happens in verse 32. And this is the part where this is devastating. This is devastating. Because what we do next is we've seen the power that God has done for us. We've seen that he got us out of it. We've seen that he gave us something to take care of ourselves. We see that he gave us everything to take care of ourselves. We've seen everything. We've seen it with our eyes. We're blown away with what we've seen. We're blown away with what's gone on. We just can't even put it into words. And then it's like we just forget about all that because we see stuff over there. We see that, oh, look at that. That looks kind of cool. I kind of want to go over there. Ooh, look at that. I kind of want that too. Ooh. You're looking at all these new little shiny things as if everything that happened wasn't good enough. So what happens in the chapter 32, right off in the first verse, says when the people saw that Moses was long coming down from the mountain, because Moses had to go up to the mountain to get these 10 commandments. So he got these 10 commandments. He actually, the people didn't know the commandments yet. It was just Moses speaking to God. He was up there for 40 days. He was on the mountain for 40 days. 40 days now. 40 days, a little over a month. We're not talking 8 years and 20 years. This is how we are as humans, and I know this. And we can all challenge each other and say that this is just what we are, people. It is what it is. Stop trying to fight it and just accept it so that we can move on with life. In just 40 days, we saw all these miracles. We got out, we got this, we got the house, we got the job, we got everything good to go. And then they gather out Aaron, make us gods who will go before us. As for this fellow Moses who brought us up out of Egypt, we don't know what has happened to him. Aaron answered them, take off your gold earrings that your wives and sons and your daughters are wearing, bring them to me. So that all the people took the earrings and brought them to Aaron. He took what they handed him and made it into a cast of a shape of a calf, fastened it with this tool, and said, these are your gods, Israel, who brought you out of Egypt. So this right here is devastating. Because the God that you saw and you witnessed and you believed in and you trusted in gave you everything that you were looking for on time even. He's always on time. Everything in here has been on time. God's on time when you're looking for him, when you're asking him, when you're needing him. He's on time. He was always on time. And he was on time with everything. But it's been 40 days now. And you're like, I don't know, man. God, I know he did this and he did that and he did that. I don't know. I think I need more. I think I need something else. I think what he did was cool, but there might be something better out there for me. So then you start praying to new gods. You start looking at the stars. You start going to some astrology. You start going to readings. You start going to spiritists. You start going to witchcraft. You start going to voodoo stuff. You start going to praying to the earth. You start going to praying to the sun and praying to the universe. You start going to praising something that is wicked. And in reality, you know it is. Because what's fascinating about this verse here, because when Moses comes back down, he says to them, what the heck are y'all doing? Like, I've been gone a couple days, y'all. What's going on here? And what Aaron says is, he literally says he threw the gold into the smelter and just poof, a calf came. It's not like they made it. It just came. And that alone is just, I don't know, that's the part where I know for a fact that there's some evil stuff on this planet that's got a mission, and it's on a game plan, and it's doing what it's doing, and it's pushing along regardless of what God's doing, and it's trying to infiltrate as much as it possibly can. And when you for 1 second start to just not pay attention to the miracles that God was doing for you, and start to think that, for one, the worst case scenario is for sure you're thinking you're doing it yourself. You think your own being is able to do these things that you were able to get out of and be able to get through and be able to triumph through. You start to think that your own self was able to do that, that's where for sure you're going to get damaged. But that's where the whole concept of the golden calf is. The golden calf is preaching and teaching all about that. You're the God. You're the one that created this. You're the one all of this. You're the one that you could do this. You can manifest that. You could reach ascension to this. You could do all these things. And he's getting you to be away from the God that actually, which is wild, because especially when it comes down to reading this text, you actually saw with your own eyes a dude move water. You saw with your own eyes a dude just beat a freaking rock and some water came out. You saw with your own eyes just literally food fall from the ground, and you went to go pick it up, and you're able to toast it, bake it, do whatever you want with it. You saw it, and you're doing it, and you're even still consuming it, knowing that that came from God. And then yet something else is able to come in and infiltrate you in such a short amount of time. And today, with this delayed gratification, everything instant, it's getting even worse. That now if God's not doing something instantaneous for you, every 15 seconds you want something from God to say, give me that next miracle, give me that next miracle, give me that next miracle. Instead of just looking at it like, man, I am blessed to be where I'm at right now. I'm blessed to be able to have what I'm able to have right now. As opposed to just give me that next and having this drive, and that's the power of Baal. That's the power of just negative forces on this planet that are driving you to the most absolute level of insanity that you're in, as opposed to looking at what actually is good and what actually you were able to get away from and get out of to where you are now. And stop trying to be on this super fast track wave, especially when you're out of danger. When you're out of danger and you're finally into a place of peace and comfort, sit in that peace and comfort, please. Like, please, just stay in that. Stay in that. Stop thinking that because you see over there, you got to try to get further over. No, just stay in that peace for a little bit, so that you could calm yourself, relax yourself, treat yourself good, learn more about yourself. And then you could learn more about everything else that's going on this planet. But stop thinking that you don't have because you see someone else have. That's just destroying us. That's just destroying us. And that right there is one time where God got real furious with the people. And was like, I'm just done with these guys. You know, I've done this, and y'all just disrespectful. Disrespect. I'm gonna move on to some other people, because y'all people are just disrespectful. You are still living within my grace and living within my miracles every single day. You're seeing it, and he's just disrespectful. You want to go off to that, and he's just like, he straight up says, just go off to that then. And that's so devastating. That's what we do as people. We see our blessings and just like, no, forget God. I'm gonna go to that God instead. I'm gonna go to this person instead. I'm gonna go over there instead. Man, it's just so devastating. But God, because Moses, this is a very interesting conversation that goes on. This is why I'm saying, people, you should definitely read this Bible. It's a fantastic story of history. And it's fascinating because we could put everything that's going on in this book and find it out here going on. We can backtrack everything that's going on. We could backtrack which Pharaoh it is. We could backtrack and see all the artifacts, and it's just phenomenal. And it really brings a storyline to you that can really uplift your day. I'm promising you that, guaranteeing you that. But what happens, because Moses has a conversation with God, he's like, no, God, I handle these folks. You don't need to do it. I could take care of these guys. Don't you do it, because then that could look bad upon everything that's going on out here, and the story's going to be said and spread, and we don't want that. So Moses was able to look at God, and God say, let me see what you could do there, man. And this is almost like a test of Moses as well along the way, with how faithful really are you to me? Are you willing to go to death for me, to the point of watching these people do what they do? And what are you going to go down there and say back to them after you see them praising these other gods and worshiping these other gods? What are you going to do? What's going to happen? You're gonna let it slide, or you're gonna lay the law down, and you're gonna make something happen? And that's what he does. He lays the law down. Because he's up there to get the law, so he comes back down and lays the law down. He said, this is what it is, people. This is where we're at. You want to still continue to keep on not going by this law? Get out of here. And not get out of here, you're dead, unfortunately, because we can't have that. We can't have this wishy-washy, this back and forth going on out here. You're done. You're gone. Get out of here. And that's some crazy savage stuff. But you got to understand that this isn't a game. This isn't no little video game that just hit pause and hit go and do what you do. No, this is life. And life is serious. And life is challenging enough, but it's serious. It's not no jokes, not no gaffes, not no none of that. So Moses fixes the situation. He gets a couple of people out. He gets like 3,000 or more people out, because they didn't want to come along with what's going on. So he got that out, and they move forward. And we thought things were good. We thought things were going all right, because in reality, we go through quite a bit. We go through a whole lot. They start talking about the law. They start talking about the rules. They start talking about the things that we should refrain from. We start going through all of that. And they talking a lot and showing a lot, and things seem to be smooth. But then something happens. We get over to the book of Numbers. We go from Exodus, we go through Leviticus, and then we go to the Numbers. These are all talking about Moses and what's going on. This is all one story going on right here. And we go on to Numbers 11 of the 4th verse. And it says, the ramble with them began to crave other food. Hold on, let me switch to over here. And said, if only we had meat to eat. Yeah, that's fine. We remember the fish we ate in Egypt, and at no cost also, the cucumbers, melons, leeks, onions, and garlic. But we have lost our appetite. We'll never see anything but this manna. He got you out of the slavery. He got you out of that house from that person. He got you into being able to take care of yourself. He got you extra to take care of yourself. He gave you the laws to make it easy to take care of yourself. And then what do you do in the end? God, I'm still not happy. I'm still not satisfied. I'm still just, I want more. I know what you gave me. I know you got me out of this. I know things are good. I know things are awesome. I know we can take care of ourselves. Everything is amazing out here, but I want more. I want more. Give me more. Give me more. Even though you saw all these miracles, give me more. Give me more. Does this sound like human beings to you? This sounds like human beings to me. So then God says, fine. Now a wind out of the, verse 31 of the, hold on, let me check that, 11th chapter. Now a wind went out of the Lord and drove quail from the sea. It scattered them 2 cubits deep all around the camp, as far as a day's walk in any direction. All that day and night, and all the next day, the people went out to gather quail. You was complaining? And you know who God is and what he's all about? You want to know this right here? You got out. You started worshiping different gods. You got away from that. Then you came back into God. And then you got pushy. And then God does what? He still answers your prayer. He still says, all right, I'll give it to you. I'll give you as much as you want. And in your reality, I'm going to give you too much. I'm going to give you an overabundance. I'm going to give you so much that you're going to get sick of it. You thought you were sick of the manna, but now I'm going to give you extra quail that you're just going to eat it day after week after month, to the point that you're just like, man, this is too much. I need something different now. So he gives you what you want, but he gives you too much that it kind of overwhelms it, that you almost like you're happy in the beginning, but then you're kind of like, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have asked for that. I shouldn't have pushed you like that. I shouldn't have been so ruthless like that. I should have just asked for what I needed and been happy for a little bit and for a while. And then just worked upon where it is that I'm going to get and not be grumbling, not be arguing, not be bringing out no drama, not be doing none of this. So he says, I give it to you. He gave it to him. So he gives you yet another miracle. You had your house. That's even better to put it. You had your apartment. You had food for you and your kids. You had 2 cars. I don't know why you need 2 cars if it's just you. But you had that. You had all the furnishings in your place. And you was like, I need that mansion. This house, I don't like it. I need more. I need something better than this. And God's like, I got you. And he gives it to you. And now where you're at is too much to even take care of, but you got what you wanted. You got exactly what you wanted. You moved from that apartment, that was perfect. You were good to go. Everything was taken care of. You had this for this and that for that, and the layout was good, and you had the right rugs everywhere. You had all the right trinkets and everything. It looked good. It was nice. And then you moved to a place that was too dang big. You're like, I like this house. This is nice. Like, this is real cool. This is amazing. And now you have nothing to put in it. Now you don't even have the funds to do it because you realize your work don't line up for it. And now you just have too much. Now you're like, now I got 4 acres of grass to cut. I don't even have time, the equipment, the resources to even do it. Now I got this whole house. I got a plumbing issue over there. Now it's just not free to fix. And now I got to figure it out on my own. And now you're running into extra problems that you weren't ready for yet. You weren't ready for this yet, but yet you was begging for it. And then God just gave it to you. And now you really starting to feel something, but you're still thankful. And God is still amazing because he still followed through. And he didn't just follow through with just a little bit. He gave you too much. He gave you way too much just to show how powerful and how magnificent and how amazing it is. And then we thought that we would just praise God and live by his commandments and just do what we do and appreciate him. But now we still keep going. Because now we run into a very sticky situation here. We've already ran into sticky situations, but now we're into another sticky situation. That's when Miriam and Aaron begin to talk to Moses about Moses' wife. He had married a Cushite, and the Lord had spoken only through Moses. And they asked, hasn't he also spoken through us? So this is where the people start grumbling a little bit about, well, I want to be able to speak to God too. How come only you can speak to God? How come only you are the one that's able to go to him and come back and do this? And why can't we also speak to him? So God says, you know what, people? Give me a second here. Then in verse 6 of the 12th chapter in the book of Numbers, where there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, reveal myself through them in visions. I speak to them in dreams. But this is not true of my servant Moses. He is faithful in all of my house. I will speak to him face to face, clearly and not in riddles. Hold on. Let me get to the next. Yep. That's where we go. So he says to them, I hear what you're saying. But I'll extend this and open this and add this and bring this and give this to you. If I want to speak to you, I speak to you in a specific way. I don't not speak to you. I speak to you. I show you. I give you everything. With this person here, I do things differently because of the way that it is. And a lot of times we run into this. This is the part where I'm just going to say straight up how it is. You see someone doing something that you want to do. You're like, I want to do that. Why are they able to do that? And why can't I do that? You start to get jealous. You start to get envious. You start to get revengeful. You start to just get crazy, savage about that person. You start to really just dial in on trying to do more, be more, and have more, and just figure out how they're doing what they're doing, as opposed to just being happy with what it is that you have and happy with where it is that you are. So everything that's going on here that they challenge, they're just challenging every single commandment. Where God says right there, don't covet your neighbor. And that's right here where they start doing. They start coveting Moses. They start saying, hey man, I appreciate you being able to help us and guide us and bring us and do for us. But yet we want to hear from him too now. We want this as well. And that's some devastating stuff for us to sit here and try to be about. And that's something that I know for sure happens on a day-to-day with everything going on in everyone's lives. You're just like, I see what you're doing. I want to do that. I could do that. And then if you can't, then you start to slander and damage and just try to destroy that person as if they're nobody. You get on somebody's YouTube show, Twitter, Instagram thing, and you see someone doing something that I like what you're doing with your dog, and that's amazing. And then all of a sudden, you just send that message. It looks like stupid. You're retarded. You ugly. What is this? You don't know how to speak. You slow. You start saying and doing and being that to somebody because they're doing what it is that you want to be able to do. And just because you have it in you that you think that you're better, then that's where I'm going to say, and that's where God steps up and says, I'm going to give this to you as well then. I'm going to give it to you. You're going to have it, and you're going to be able to be a part of it. You're going to be a part of it a little bit differently, but you're going to be able to be a part of it. So don't think that you're not a part of this. You can do what it is that you want to do. You can have what it is that you want to have. You can be who it is that you want to be. And then you think that after that, we get things figured out. Nah. You know what we do as people after that? We've gotten all this. We've gotten out. We've gotten the apartment. Then it was like, got the big old house. And then it was like, nah, I still want that. And then it's like, And now you run into another situation. All the Israelites grumbled. Where are we at? Let me double check this verse. I want to make sure that everybody got every verse going on with this. Speaking riddles. We're in chapter 14 of Numbers, in the second verse. All the Israelites grumbled against Moses and Aaron, and the whole assembly said to them, if only we had died in Egypt, or in this wilderness. Why is the Lord bringing us to a land only to let us fall by the sword? And this is some crazy stuff because God says, I'm going to give you this land. He confirmed it. He said, you're moving into that land. I don't care who's on it. I don't care who's around. Y'all went to go look out to see who was out there. Like, oh, these people are crazy. They're big. They got all this. They got all this. But God said he's going to give it to you. So stop worrying. Stop being frantic. Then the people realize in the end, because they got some word back of, we're not going to be able to do this. These people have way more than we have. We got sandals on. We don't have no swords. We don't have no nothing. How are we going to take that land? So they got scared. They got so scared that they weren't going to be able to take the land that God said that he was going to give to them, that they were just like, oh, we would rather die back in Egypt. We would have died back in the beginning. I wish I would have just died back in that, in the second part of it, where we are now. Why did we just die? Why are you going to make us go out here and go into this battle and die in this battle? Not even realizing that you had a battle of the Egyptians coming after y'all, and you moved the water, and you saw that you won the battle without having to do a single thing. You didn't have to do it. God did it all for you. You already seen that battle go by, and you conquered and moved forward. So why would you think that God could do that again for you? But nah, you're like, God ain't going to be able to do nothing for me. He's pointless. He's worthless. He's meaningless. God's just never going to be able to make nothing happen for me. And then that's where God's just like, people. And this is where we're going to verse 10. But the whole assembly talked about stoning them. So the people got so mad at Moses and Aaron that they was just like, you know what? We like y'all as leaders. Y'all got us here. I seen y'all go through that battle and give us water and give us food and give us more food and give us a dreams and visions of being able to hear and be able to see God. And now we just want to kill you because they're going to kill us. So let's go ahead and kill you guys. You know how silly that sounds? The people that are doing everything in their power to be able to get you out of the problems that you're in, those are the first people you want to go to try to harm. And the Lord says to Moses, how long will these people treat me with contempt? How long will they refuse to believe in me in spite of all the signs I have performed for them? This is just an interesting thing because it's just, no matter what God does for you, you just want to reject him. No matter what he shows you and does for you, you just want to reject him. No matter what signs that he brings straight to your face for you to see, you just want to reject him. No matter what he did and is doing, and you can see what's about to happen based on the visions and the dreams that you get about him to you, you just want to reject him. You want to act like he didn't do anything before for you. You want to act like you did that after God has done that for you. You want to act like you made everything happen all on your own, or something else, or some other God. But the God that's created this land, that created you and me, that created these lands, that created the sun and the stars and the moon, that created everything for us to be able to see, all the water, and to make it all work together. The God that created all that, you want to reject that. That's just, it's challenging, because this is something that I've known that I've been all about of until this past year of my life, that I just rejected it regardless, that I saw some crazy stuff happen to me. I've taken bullets in me, and I said, yeah, I just got out of that. And I'm still able to run just as fast, if not faster, than I've ever been able to. I've been dropped out of balconies. I've been in car crashes that devastating. I've been in a motorcycle accident, devastating. I've been into so many sticky situations. Even being in Afghanistan where I was, doing what I was doing, driving our trucks, in some very, very sticky situations, and I was somehow able to just skate out of it. But yet I rejected God, not looking at all these miracles he's been able to do for me. I was in just devastating relationships that were just destroying me. But yet I was able to get out of it. And then I got out of it and was like, I'm still not good enough. And then I got into another one, I was like, I'm still not good enough. And then I would get more and I'm still not good enough. And then I'll get out here on this land and say, I'm still not good enough. I need something, I need this, and just disrespectful to God. Realizing that he's the reason why I'm able to be out here and do what it is that I'm able to do. Why I can see my big old bull right there just eating, having fun, doing what he's doing, living a good life. And I'm just like, I'm still not good enough. And just not realizing that that's what God has been able to give me, because that's what I've been asking for. That's what I've been dreaming about. And then when I finally get it, I'm just like, no, God, no, you know what? I don't need you. I'm going to go to these other gods. I'm going to start trying to find my star chart to figure out who I am and what I'm all about, where I'm going to go next month. As opposed to just realizing that God already gave me all these miracles. How many of us are dealing in life like that, are struggling like that, are just getting destroyed every day with our thoughts inside of our minds of just, give me more. And you didn't do that for me. I did that myself. I'm telling you, that's going to be one of the most destructive things to you, is saying that you did it yourself. You didn't do it yourself. You didn't make it happen yourself. That's just not the way that it is. So then we go further, because this story still doesn't end. And this is why I love this Bible, because I'm telling you, this is 100% who we are. Because not only did he get you out of the Egypt, to get you out of this, give you the food, give you the water, give you the shelter, give you everything you need, give you instruction on how to be able to live right and be able to have a nice, successful, fulfilled life and do all this. And then give you some water again. Did we already go with that one? No, give me a second. I don't know if we go to that one next. No, we ain't going to that one. But he gave you some water again. He gave you water again after the first time he was looking for water. I think that's where this one goes here. Yeah. Chapter 20 in the Numbers, 3rd verse. They quarreled at Moses and said, if only we died but let's backtrack a second, because when they were wanting to stone Moses for bringing them to these places that thought they were going to die in battle from these people that had the swords and had a way greater army and a trained army. These guys are just people. They're not trained to do this. They work livestock, and they build bricks and they lay bricks. They're not warriors. And they found some warriors, and that's why they got scared. And that's why they about to stone Moses. But you know what happened? They made it through. They took it. Everything came out good. They didn't lose anybody, and they overcame and conquered. Isn't that phenomenal? That's fantastic. That's something interesting, huh? God followed through. He said, y'all gonna take that land. And they took that land. They didn't have to do much of anything at all. It's just fascinating. Then you go to chapter 20, 3rd verse. They quarreled. And Moses said, if only we had died when our brothers fell dead before the Lord. So something happened. They got sticky, because when the people said that we're going to take this land, we sent the scouts out. The scouts came back and terrified the people. We're not going to be able to do that. Nope. And those people, God had to deal with those people and get those people out. And God did a miracle to make those people disappear on this planet. He opened the earth and they fell in, because we can't have this fear. This is where things are, I'm going to say, different here as opposed to today, because we got Jesus walking with us today. So this here, the fear, he had to get the fear out. The fear had to go away. The fear couldn't stay, because the fear started to take over everybody. And the fear is why they wanted to stone Moses and Aaron, because they had fear in them of like, we're never going to be able to do this. So this is where they're talking about, I wish we should have just died with them. Even though they already won this battle, this war that they had going on. They won it. They run into a situation again where they're just like, never satisfied. Why did he bring us into this wilderness where our livestock should die here? We bring us up out of Egypt to this terrible place. Listen, we must bring water out of this rock. Then Moses raised his, so this is where the second time he gives them water, because they conquered this battle, and then they run into a situation where they got everything they need, everything they could ever desire. Everything always comes to them when it needs to come to them. And they never need to have to worry to try to fight to get the basic things of needs of living. But they don't trust again, because they're like, there's no water. There's no water. Look around, guys. There's no water. We don't have water. We don't have water. We don't have water. So they start crying, begging, and they start just getting in an uproar. Forget God. He brought us here and there ain't no water. So God tells Moses to do yet again the thing on the rock, and the water flows. And the people are like, yeah, oh, praise God, there's water. God doesn't give up. He keeps going, even though you're complaining, even though you got all this strife, even though you got all this just negativity going on, even though you want to reject him every time. When you call on him again, he shows up. He shows up again to you. He comes straight to you again. He doesn't just disappear and just fold and just, I don't listen, No, he shows up again. Even though you disgraced his name, even though you destroyed everything about him, even though you told everyone to just, this God is worthless. He ain't done nothing for us, even though he done all this stuff before. No, because right now he's not giving me what I want right now. He's worthless. Forget about the prior everything. And that's where amazing things start to happen, because God still follows through. He still gives them what they need. He got it in them a little bit where he's just like, these people are I like the term that he uses, is stiff-necked. He's stiff-necked people, man. They don't want to listen. They only want to listen when they can see the miracle right in their face for that moment. And then the next moment, they're back to just forget God. I don't want to pay attention to that. I don't need those commandments. I don't need those laws. I don't need none of that. I'm fine by myself. I can do what I can do by myself. How many of us are walking around on this planet doing that? But yet, the beautiful thing about this is I'm saying that still, no matter with all of that, God still follows through. He still gives us what we need. He still gives us what we're desiring. He still gives us things to make sure that we are able to continue to keep on living and breathing and going another day. He still follows through, regardless of how you treat him. That's phenomenal, people. That's absolutely phenomenal. That's just insanely phenomenal. And then right here is something that gets sticky again with the people. But God still follows through again. Because even with that, again, with the water for the second time, now we run into another situation that kind of in reality is going to put us in a situation of where we started in the entire beginning. That all of what we've been going through and doing, everything that we've been working on to be able to figure out how to get away from, we end up getting into a situation where we are about to set ourselves up to get right back into the beginning. And that's where men indulge in chapter 25 of the Numbers. I'm not sure what verse it is. That's the first verse. The men begin to indulge in sexual immorality with the Moabite women who invited them to sacrifice to their gods. The people ate with their gods. So Israel yoked themselves to the Baal of to Baal. And that's something that is just, let me get to this verse, because this is something that gets, oh, dang, we going far on that. This is something that is devastating to us as a people. This is something that we got to do our absolute best to stay completely away from. Because this is just putting ourselves right back into the same situation of what it is that we got out of. You are in, so I don't know why, but I like going back to relationship comparative here, is you were in a devastating relationship to begin with, and you were asking and pleading for God to get you out of it, because that's what we were in. We were in Egypt. We liked it at first. It was cool. And then there was a shift. There was a shift. There was something shift happened. In the beginning, it was like the best thing ever. You're like, man, you love me. You really care about me. The best thing. And then there was a shift. And then it just turned into, I hate you. I can't stand you. Get the heck out of here. Why are you even still there? It turned into ruthlessness. And then you were pleading like, I got to get out of this because I'm getting hurt. I'm getting destroyed. I don't even know who I am anymore. What is my name? What am I able to, anything about you anymore? You run into a very sticky situation and then God gets you out of that. And then when he gets you out of that, God makes that other person make sure that they can't get to you anymore. They are no longer able to get to you. And then you get somewhere and you're like, I'm lonely. I need something. And then God gives it to you. And then you're like, I don't know how to take care of myself. Then God gives it to you. And then you're like, oh man, you know what? I want to believe this other God, this fake stuff out here. And God still comes back and he still gives you and he still takes care of you. And then after all over and over and over and over times that you just disgrace him, you just destroy him, you just neglect him, you forget about him, you just give up on God, you end up doing the same thing, going right back to the same old thing again. You go right back into going into the situation that you're going right back to Egypt and you're ready to start this cycle all over again. And God is saying to you, do everything you can to get out of this. And God is serious about this one right here. He's serious because when they did that, God put a plague upon them. And he told them, you're getting rid of all these people. You're not doing that. You're not doing that. He's like, I got you so far out of that. I'm not allowing you to do that. And he made a massive statement of showing his power and force to say that you are not doing that. Because in reality, doing that, you're going to death. So God put a plague upon them. And a huge plague upon them. And a lot of them passed away in this plague, unfortunately. And plagues it's interesting because he doesn't say exactly which one that he gave on this one. But they're usually not something you just die away like that. It's something that you got to think about your actions along the way. And if you don't repent, you end up dying. But if you repent, okay, you're good to go. Let's continue to keep on living here. Let's keep going. Let's get back on our commandments. Let's get back in the way of life. Let's get back of just having peace again. And he's serious about this one because he's like, I just got you out of that. Don't put yourself back in it again. Do not do it. Do not do it. Stay away. And this is just I don't know what it is, people, but the more and more I just keep reading this and keep rereading this and keep going through this and keep studying this, and I just see us today. This book is timeless. This Bible is timeless. Everything about it is about who we are right now. We're not any different. The only differences that we are from this book right here is we have cars and airplanes. That's it. These guys got horses, chariots. We just have horsepower in our cars now. We got planes that can get us places. That's it. As far as what we do and how we act and what we do in churches and how we interact with each other, it's all the same in this book. And it's phenomenal to be able to read because it just really, it relaxes you. It brings peace to you knowing how we are, what we are. And it lets you know exactly what it is that you need to do to make sure that you can get away from a lot of this strife. So that you can get away from the drama, get away from the backlash, you can get away from the negativity, you can get away from the people that are trying to destroy you. And you can see and realize and recognize the people that are trying to destroy you. And you know what they're all about. You know how they act. You know what their game plan is. You know what their game plans are all about. You know everything about it so you can stay away from it. But right here, this is too soon, basically. God's saying it's too soon. You just left there. You're not ready to think about going back into something like that, thinking that you're going to be able to conquer it. You're not ready yet. You're not ready to do that. And you're saying to yourself, you know, I'm lonely. I need this. I need that. It's like if you're still feeling that way, you're not ready to get into anything yet. You're not ready to go back there yet. You will be one day, but you got to keep going forward in this book to figure out how to be able to get the strength and the courage to be able to know how to be in love with yourself. To be able to trust yourself, believe in yourself, know yourself, be all about having a good understanding of realizing that you are powerful. And the only way that you're going to get that is by being able to have the understanding that you got God by your side. And you got God to be able to rely upon. When you start to question, you start to doubt, you start to be in a sticky situation, you say, God, I need some help. And God's like, hey, I'm right here, man. I'm right here, girl. I got you. I'm right here. You're calling on me? He's right there. You say, God, I'm struggling. I don't know where to go. He's right there. You could have said, you know what, God, I hate you. And 10 seconds later, hey, God, I need you. And God's, what's going on? What's happening? He's there for us, regardless. He may have it in him to where it's because he says it. He's so expressive. He's like, man, I'm angry, I'm furious. Oh, I got rage. He's got all this. But you know what? He says, I'm mad. But he's like, I can let that go because I love you. I let go everything that you've done because I love you. I see that you're struggling. I see that you're hurting. I see that you want to destroy me. I see that you're trying to slander me. That's what God is seeing. He's like, you are slandering me, man. And he's like, yeah, I can let that go because he loves you that much. He's not holding any of that, especially in this, so far right now, he's holding it to them. But especially later on when we keep going and when we keep moving forward, when Jesus comes, when God comes, he changes it and he makes it greater for us because he's no longer holding anything that we've done against us anymore. He's saying, believe in me and you will be free. Believe in me and you will have the abundance. Believe in me and you will have peace. Believe in me and your anger will disappear. Believe in me and you will know how to be able to trust again. That's what he offers us. That's what he brings to us. That's what he does for us. It's an absolutely amazing thing. And no matter how angry he gets, he's still like, yeah, I'll give you another chance. I got you. You're here. And the only time that he just swipes it out because he realizes there's not a single person that cares about him at all and they just don't want, they have no repentance in their heart. They're just damned. And they're just like, I don't care, I don't want. And they are never, ever, ever trying to call out to God and saying, can you help me? Then he's like, okay, well, I'll allow the people that do believe to just take you out so that they could keep on spreading and growing. Because that's just so toxic to have around. Someone that's just all 100% against it. It's toxic. And that's why for me, I feel bad, but I shouldn't, about people that just don't want to believe in God at all, because God is serious and is the only thing that we should ever possibly fear in our lives. And as long as we're staying to the commandments, we have nothing to fear in reality. We only have to fear what it is that we are doing and how we're deviating and try to get away from. But as long as we're faithful with what we're doing, you shouldn't be living in fear on this land. You shouldn't have to feel like a guilt of anything. You know, I got more, I got this, I got that. You should be pretty satisfied. You should be pretty humbled and pretty patient about what it is, where you are, and what's going on with you, and not in this I need mores, just happy. And that's what I'm gonna tell you that God brings us, and God brings that to us, and he doesn't say that. I'll go back to relationship, that you're going to be with nothing and all by yourself the whole life. But he's saying that if you're still not living by the way of the laws that he's commanding of us, you're not ready to do anything more than just love yourself, live yourself, understand yourself. You're not ready to go anywhere else. You're not ready to do anything yet, because it's only going to set you up to be right back in the same situation that you started in. And the first time you got out of it, it was hard. It was devastating. It was ruthless. But the second time you try to get out of it, it's going to be 1,000 times harder. It's going to be nowhere near of the same. It's going to come in so much harder, so much faster, so much more destructive, that you trying to get away from it and get out of it is going to really, and this is something that I can say in my life as a personal, that the first time getting out was hard, but the second time, it almost made me take my life. It almost put me to a place of never even thinking of caring about a God, never even thinking of praying, never even thinking of caring at all that God could possibly do anything for me. It stripped everything from me. And that's where, for me to say that, I wouldn't want anyone else to have to go through that. Because if I would have read this book and understood this book and actually really paid attention to this book years and decades ago, I wouldn't have been and be in the situation I am today. But I'm going to say that I'm blessed and thankful to be in the situation I am today, because I'm not a 15-year-old boy doing and living a way of life. I have life experience to be able to make sure that I can say something, do something, be about something to help somebody that's in a situation, that I can see it. I can see when you're in that situation, it's about to happen. I have the information to be able to guide me, to be able to figure out how to be able to help you through that situation. That information is in this Bible. It's not in no psychology book. It's not in nothing, no self-help book. It's none of it. It's in the Bible. The information on how to help you is in this book. I don't need to go to any outside sources to figure out how to be able to help you. And if you have some problems, that's something that we need to talk about. If you have some issues, that's something that we need to talk about. It's something that we need to figure out how to be able to communicate, to be able to get you to get in a better place. Because I'm telling you, everything that you're struggling with, it can be found and helped through information and knowledge through this Bible. And I just want to say thank you. And I want to give a quick prayer to God of just saying, thank you for allowing me to be able to have your word to be able to read, have an understanding of realizing when it is that you're speaking and when it is that another person is speaking. Because that goes all out on a lot in this Bible. And that's where people get confused, that they love to slam Bible verses at you that is not what God is saying. It's somebody saying it, but it's not what God is saying. And I'm just so thankful, and I just pray to God and just say, you have blessed me with being able to allow me to be able to understand this book and read this book and have the access to this book. And the one thing that I want to be very, very thankful for is the time and the patience and the willingness to be able to read this book, and then realizing that this is all that I'm really consuming for the most part of my life today, that hopefully soon enough, that's all I'll be consuming. That all this other shows and things and commentary that I listen to, they're confused. And the only way that I can get people out of the confusion is by continually reading this book and saying something to hopefully be able to get you out of the confusion that you're in. Because if you read this book, just like I stated a month ago, that I was confused. I was reading through it. I was in the book of Deuteronomy, and I was like, man, I don't know. This is weird. I was confused. And I had to stop making videos because I was confused. And I just want to say thank you, God, for allowing me to have that pause and that revelation and that understanding to just, yeah, man, read it. Stop talking about it until you read it. It's not for everybody, but it is for everybody. If you want to talk about God, you want to talk about it, you need to understand Him. The only way you can understand Him is by reading this book. And I would want everybody that wants to make anything, read the book, the entire book, multiple times, so that you can really understand it. And then you're really going to be able to have something to say to be able to help somebody get out of the problems that they have. Because I know for a fact today, I know a 100% fact today that I can help you with your problems. I can help you with issues that are going on with you. Because the book gives us clear instructions and clear understanding on how to be able to get out of that. And that's today why I pray so much to be able to figure out how I can do that for more people, the way that God's been able to do that for me. And I would hope that you would do what you need to do to figure out how to find the resources you need to be able to get in close contact with the people you need to get the help that you need, the real help. Help comes from this Bible. And if you've been going somewhere, talking to someone, going to a pastor, or going to a minister, and going to all these things, and it's been 5 years and you're still not getting what you need, stop. Because you should be able to get what you need rapid fast, because that's who God is. When you start living by Him, you start understanding Him, you start believing in Him, you start going about what it is that He's looking for from us, He's going to flood you with what it is that you're looking for. And the reason you're struggling is because you're still doing things that you shouldn't be doing. And the main thing is you're doing too much. Stop doing too much. Thank you.